Tell me what you see when you look at me. Do you see another brother lost in these streets looking for his soul?
Trying to find my soul.
Or do you see another brother searching for lost souls in these streets? A street soldier.
Street soldier.
Here to help you get that chip off your shoulder, warm your colder days and sober your drunken ways, and find a way to help you get over these hurdles placed in our path. And this is not meant to amuse you. This is for all those who have questions but are afraid to ask.
I won't be afraid. I won't be afraid. No. When times get hard, you lose your way. Open your mind and hear what I say.
This is a message for the hard and the soft. To those who tune in weekly and to those who keep an eye out for 8 p.m. on Sundays and turn their radios off. The truth hurts. The cloth has been pulled. We're walking around half dead. Use this show as your IV. Alive and Free is a new movement. We've achieved self-destruction. A street soldier promotes self-improvement.
Streets couldn't be no colder, so I gotta be a soldier. It shouldn't be this hard for me. Even when it seems so hopeless, I gotta keep my focus. I'm glad to be alive and free, yeah. Streets couldn't be no colder, so I gotta be a soldier. It shouldn't be this hard for me. Even when it seems so hopeless, I gotta keep my focus. I'm glad to be alive and free, yeah.
Good evening. This is Lady Estelle, and you are listening to Alive and Free Street Soldiers Radio. Your host this evening is glad to see that we are still healthy. We are still safe. We are still alive and free. Who is your host? Dr. Joseph E. Marshall.
Thank you, Lady E. Alive and Free Radio, Street Soldiers on the air once again. That's what we do. You know what we do. Playing a little music, saving a lot of lives, stopping the violence, trying to make it all good in your neighborhood. Dr. M right here. Y'all know who I am. The conductor of the Alive and Free train. Omega Boys Club, Street Soldiers, all of that stuff. That's me. Been doing it for a minute. Everything we can do to keep you alive and free. Wonderful show for you tonight. I still hear about it. I got to tell everybody, and I'm still hearing about. I'm still getting texts and calls about the show 2 weeks ago. That 50th show on the 50 years of hip hop, Mike. I'm still hearing stuff about it. I really am. People be stopping me. I didn't get to call in, so I want to tell you my favorite. I want to tell you my favorite song. I want to do that.
When you introduced the show, were you trying to get your rap on? Because I heard you say keeping it all good in your neighborhood.
Not intentionally, but if it sounded like that, yeah. I mean,
I thought you was going to be Biggie Smalls or somebody.
Well,
Rest in peace. I'm sorry.
No, but I'm still hearing about the show, and everybody.
That was a great show.
That was a great show. That was, man. You gonna do a part two? No, why are you gonna do a part two, man?
You got to do a part two because it wasn't long enough.
For real?
It was not. You got to do a part two. Hip hop don't hit 2 hours on hip hop. Come on, Dr. Marshall. You got to do better. Got to do better, man.
Man, why? Okay, we have a talk away from the mic.
Oh, my bad. Thank you, Lady Estelle, Dr. Marshall, for helping me get my battery situation.
Oh, all right, bro.
We had a crazy situation last week. I thought I lost my car.
Yeah, but you didn't. See,
man.
Yeah, you was hey, without telling the public all the details. You were
I don't
freaking
care.
out.
I don't have
you was freaking out, man.
I was freaking out. Man. I thought I lost my car.
See, God is good.
God is good
all the time.
And y'all got $50 each. Thank you.
Ooh,
for that.
Oh Lord, all right.
It was $250 for the battery.
Ooh, okay.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
No.
Okay.
No.
I'm kind of. I'm one of the hosts that cameo, and I just put it all out there. I don't really trip.
Well, the first thing I did, I asked you when you came in, did you get the battery? So
yes, sir. You didn't even say hi. You said,
did you get the battery?
Staying alive and free and battery tested.
And say hello before we get into the show. What's going on?
Good evening, Street Soldiers. I'm just, happy and blessed to be here today. It's been a beautiful weekend for me. So yeah, happy to be here with all of you.
What's up, Malcolm? How you doing?
What's up, Stanley? What's up, Doc?
Yeah.
What's up, Mike? Lady E?
Brother Malcolm.
Esteemed guest in the studio. Just over here enjoying a little boba tea. And
Your
you like-
culture.
Do you like the little gummy boba thing?
I don't
Hey,
do that stuff.
look,
You
I
like?
had to give a
No.
shout out to my daughter, Ida Violet. She's been trying to put me on. She's 13. She's been telling me about this since she was probably 7. I finally have converted. These things are delicious.
Wow.
You
Yes.
got the little boba things there. You know the chewable little goodies.
Yes, sir.
I
Yes.
Does
like
it-
those too.
Does it explode in your mouth, Malcolm?
No, it doesn't. But I got the mango flavor, and I'm hooked now. I get it. I see what all the rage is now.
Wow.
All right.
I never could do it.
Well, to each his own. All right. No, y'all be telling me. By the way, one more, man. Before we get into it, I gotta tell you, man, I've read my 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, 9th Easy Rollins mystery today.
Oh yeah, you in good hands.
Oh man, I can't. I'm hooked. I've been hooked, but they so good. They just beyond good. Thank you. Sir.
Well,
Everybody
hey,
out there, you ain't got nothing to read. Walter Mosley, Easy Rollins, Devil in the Blue Dress. It's the movie, but that's like the first of 9 books. It's incredible. You start
Walter
reading.
Mosley, one of the best living authors, American authors we have, and yeah, Doc is. I bought him one for Christmas, Mike, and he been reading a book every 2
Wow.
days since.
Okay.
I done read
Wow.
9.
Wow.
Yeah.
That was a good movie too.
Oh yeah. Yeah,
That
and
was
it's a
a
crime.
good
They only
movie.
made one. That was the first book he read. He wrote. They did that movie and haven't done one since. Yeah. Now I got. Look at it. Look up Lady East. I finished and I give her one. You better say something quick about Walter Mosley. Bad, quick. Say something. Walter.
Fast and quick doesn't work when I need a mic.
Okay.
It's
All right.
it's amazing. That boy can write.
Yeah.
Yes,
Okay.
he can.
I
Yes,
don't
he can.
remember what am I? I'm reading 6 Easy Pieces.
6 Easy Pieces.
But every single one, it's like, what? Listen, there was one part. What was the last one? Not the little yellow dog. What was the last one?
I can't
All I
remember.
know
Big
is-
Bad Boy Brawley Brown.
Bad boy, big bad boy. Listen, there was one part in there. I was yelling. I was like, oh my goodness. I mean, when you are yelling at the book, now that's a good book, okay?
You know, one of my favorite things is, Lady Estelle, when you say the word listen. Mike, if you could sample her, just have that ready to go.
I know,
'Cause
right?
You know, when she says listen, she
That
means
needs to be a drop.
And
That's
it's-
what I'm
I'm
saying.
gonna have her say
Yeah,
that,
say
and
that.
I'm gonna put it on the drop. And I'm gonna have
but you got to catch her like when
Yeah.
she's just doing it. You know what I mean?
You gotta catch them when you ain't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
it's just natural.
Boom. Yeah. Yeah. Listen. And then what's the part, lady? Second part. And listen to me. Go ahead. Say it all. Okay. Come on. Come on. Say it. Listen.
You have to
and-
understand. We've got mics spread out.
Okay.
And so I had to wait for the mic. to get-
Okay. All right.
What
Give
is
it.
it you want me to say?
Listen and listen to me. Go ahead. Do the whole thing.
When I say listen and listen to me good,
Yeah. But
Mhm. Oh yeah.
you have, there's a moment.
yeah, I know.
And when the
I'm sorry.
moment comes, then it comes out,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
This ain't the moment.
Yeah.
That's why I say you got to catch her, Mike. But you gonna do it.
All
That's
right, let's do news. We gotta do news because we got guests. We gotta go on the show. It's a wonderful show. Happy birthday, Malia Obama. Can we do that, Malia? What is Malia?
25 years old.
Malia is 25, man.
Oh man, I gotta get her at a club. I gotta get her at the club. I gotta get her to host a party.
You
I didn't know
gonna
she was
You
25.
gonna get Barack Obama's daughter to host a party?
I think you're gonna have to do a little more than that.
I didn't know she was 25. Wow,
Sure.
that's crazy.
Just in the I mean, she's a little girl.
That's
Happy
crazy.
birthday, Malia.
Hey, imagine going home, trying to take Malia out on a date, and you got to meet the parents.
Man.
No.
And it ain't Barack I'm worried about. Okay.
All right, seriously.
All I got after this is gossip. So just for you, but don't spend no time on it. NDRE going off on Megan and Janelle. You heard about that? You didn't hear about it. All right, leave it alone then. Forget about it. Everybody else heard about it.
That's the best time to get news when you don't know about it.
No, you don't want. No, I don't even want to talk.
It's the Essence Fest fallout and all that.
Yeah, Essence Festival.
Okay.
They was twerking on stage. Now, if you're gonna twerk on stage, you're gonna twerk. But then they invite the audience to twerk. See, and they're little kids, and all that. And so NDRE said, man, you got to do better than that. That's basically what it was.
Okay.
Yeah, it was. It's
Well,
no. Look,
one of the things I say in the club, Dr. Marshall,
uh-huh.
when twerking songs come on, I say, y'all been twerking since 2nd grade. So
Maybe they have.
no, you haven't.
No,
Nah.
lady.
You was crip walking. You from LA.
Stop.
I'm joking.
Stop. All right. And at my last, let me just one more. Stephen A. Smith went off this week
Oh yeah.
on black folks killing black folks. Now, I agree with Stephen A. Smith, maybe 1 out of 10, but this one, he went. Did you hear that, Malcolm? He went completely off on black folks.
I heard it, but it's like he's a sports commentator. So,
Right. I know.
I mean, sure, he can say that, but there's so many people like yourself who've been doing this work to stop the violence for decades. I'd rather hear from y'all.
Of course.
Just somebody, mad who just talks a lot, but okay.
That's Stephen A. Smith. Yeah. All right. And there's one funny video. Can I do this? There was this video. I think it was a brother, but I couldn't be sure he had a mask on. He went into this nail salon in Atlanta.
I saw that.
Everybody, you see that one?
Yeah,
I didn't know if it was staged.
Look, you in there.
Nobody.
Everybody, put your hands up.
Oh, yeah.
I guess I don't know what he had. What kind of gun he had? And one lady jumped up and like this. The rest of them looking like.
I wish that would happen all the time.
Move.
I really do.
Move. They did not move. They're like, I don't know who this fool is. I ain't got, Yeah, he got frustrated and left. It was funny. Obviously, he wasn't a real robber. Okay, that was funny. I'm glad.
I like that. I like that.
Glad up and skate.
No,
All right,
you put your hands up. That's basically what they said.
Wow.
All right. What are we doing tonight? Tonight, we are celebrating the 40th anniversary of East Palo Alto,
Whoa.
California. 40th anniversary. And I know a lot about EPA. I actually remember when it was incorporated. So I got to read a little bit, and when in doubt, go to Wikipedia, right, Ann? Okay. East Palo Alto, better known as EPA, is a city in San Mateo County, California, and population as of the census 2020 was 30,034. It is situated on the San Francisco Peninsula, roughly halfway between the cities of San Francisco and San Jose, to the north, blah, 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 or you can forget it. Despite being called, now this is interesting. So despite being called East Palo Alto, the city is actually north of Palo Alto. And, I guess people didn't know their directions, didn't have a compass back then, all right? Okay. Also, Lady E, this is interesting. It is in San Mateo County, while Palo Alto is in Santa Clara County.
I always thought that was strange, but okay.
It has always been a separate entity since its founding as an unincorporated community, and it was incorporated on July 1st, 1983.
Wow.
It officially became its own city in 1983. The thing that's always struck me about East EPA was it is only, correct me if I'm wrong, because we got residents here, 2.5 square miles. That's not
big.
No, it's not big. And I'm bad on distance and things. Like, I don't know, 2 miles is like, if I walk 2 miles, do I end up at the Giants ballpark? Do I end up at the club? I don't know. No, I know.
With a population of 30,000, you said?
Yeah, right now. Yeah. And there are figures that show, where it's been through the years, but it's only 2.5 square miles. So tonight we're going to celebrate 40 years as being its own incorporated city. We're going to do a community celebration. And I'm gonna tell you how I really got into this. Lady E, didn't you used to live in EPA? Yeah, okay. You get to chime in on that. You just lived in that, didn't you, for a minute? When you came out here?
2214 Dumbarton.
Okay.
Is where I lived for I don't know how many years.
Yeah.
But yeah, from Kansas City. The 2214 Dumbarton. Used to ride my bike, especially when my car wasn't working. Worked over at Bank of America, over on whatever that street is on the other side.
Yep.
So yeah. Yeah.
Remember Dumbarton Street?
Get to the mic. Get to the mic.
I remember
Mike is your friend.
I remember Dumbarton Street like it was yesterday. Was in labor with my oldest son and my friend. For some reason, I don't know why she went down that street. And
it's not a street. There was a road, and it was like boom, the whole
and it was an East-West Shrine game that weekend, so it was a lot of traffic on Willow Road.
So she had to keep. She was nervous, so she's going around, and even funnier. I think that's when the song was out with Jodeci. I was so irritated. It was on. I was like, turn this song off. It was the one where "So You're Having My Baby." So
Oh, Forever My Lady.
on my way to Kaiser in Redwood City. Oh my goodness. I was like,
Yeah, Dumbarton. It was, and I don't know. I haven't been down the street in a long time. Is
I
it
think
still?
they've
Did they fix it? Have they
Yeah,
paved
they've
it?
been doing a lot of work. They
Okay.
did a lot of work.
Okay.
It's different.
Okay. All right.
Very different.
By the way, since we are celebrating EPA, those of you who live there, have resided there, grew up there, everything, call in and show some love for your city. We're going to give you the number 877-955-1061, 877-955-1061. Lady E, two of the earliest students that we sent to college were from EPA, East Palo Alto, Bakari Thompson and Allende Loud. Met them at a Stanford summer camp. And I said, you come up to San Francisco and I'll send you to college. And they drove up every week. One went to Clark, one went to Alabama State. So Bakari says, I'm calling in. So we'll see if he actually calls in. 877-955-1061. What really got me, Mike, on this whole thing was there was a post by someone who appeared on the show later, Douglas Fort, the Blurred Academy man himself. And in his post, he showed me, and the way he captioned it, it says, no other city in the United States can lay claim to what EPA, East Palo Alto, has done. There are 7, 8, 9, I think, football players currently in the NFL from that 2.5-mile radius city. There might not be 9 football players from the whole state of Montana. I mean that my point. A state. This is a little bitty city with 9 football players, and here they are. I'm gonna name them. I think you know some of the names. You heard of Devontae Adams, Mike?
The best in the business.
Yes,
sir.
I don't know about that one, but yeah.
Best in the business. Yeah, he's the best receiver. In the
man, it's an EPA night, and you gonna go off and say, yeah,
He the best.
tonight.
He the best out of EPA for sure.
Oh, come on.
Yes, but
Nah, he right. He up there.
That's a bad boy.
That's a bad boy right
All
there.
right, I said Devontae Adams, Vita Vea, that's the way I think
yeah.
that's his name.
Mhm.
Jordan Mims,
Oh, yeah.
Makai Blackman, Keeson, I think that's his Johnson. Keyshawn, is that the way Keyshawn Jackson? Johnson, I'm sorry. And not that other Keyshawn. Okay, who I also know. All right, Keyshawn. And then these 2 young men sitting to my left in the studio, Nashawn Wright and Rajon Wright, right?
Hey.
All right. On their way to respective teams. Say the team.
Carolina Panthers. I've been in Dallas going on my 3rd year.
And this is
I'm a rookie.
all right. And the voice you heard at first was mom here, Miss Sadio Simon, who is their mother. And I just thought that was so remarkable that the first time we just gonna do the sports thing. We ain't even going to the rest of EPA. That is incredible to me. And I wanted to find out what is going on, what you putting in the water, what y'all eating. I don't know what you're doing. And we have a couple of other guests who are going to join us for this. If we can pull them in, we got Coach Eric Washington, right? He's going to join us, who has a lot to do with the athletes down there. And then we have your 3rd son, DeAndre Forks, who's going to join us. So let's start off with you, Mom. You are the centerpiece of all this. Tell us about your history, EPA, how long you been there, how did you get there, and how did you, what did they eat a lot? Let me just ask you, when he was growing up, they eat a lot?
Ray John would eat like a whole loaf of bread.
A whole loaf of bread.
Maybe get an endorsement with bread company. Home fried. You might have been home.
So when does your history EPA start?
From a child.
Okay.
I was born and raised here. I moved when I was 18, but that didn't keep me away from here. I would come across the bridge. I actually, when I was pregnant, I went to a school where pregnant mothers went. It's called Redwood in Redwood City.
Mm-hmm.
So I would travel from Fremont with my mom. She worked at Farmkin Laboratories. So I would follow I would ride across with her, go to school, stay, and then she'd pick me up, go back, and then of course when I got my car, I could.
So the town itself, what was it like growing up there?
It was definitely different than it is now.
Mhm.
It was crime,
Yeah,
a lot of it. My age group.
yeah, yeah,
So it started getting really, really bad. I think it's probably why I know why a lot of people moved away.
yeah,
My mom included. Um, but growing up, it was fun,
yeah.
especially in Miller Park. Like most of all my friends right now are still my friends.
Mhm.
That city, the one thing outside of, the things that happened, because it didn't just happen in East Palo Alto, the drugs took over San Francisco, Oakland, everywhere.
Oh,
But
everywhere. Yeah,
East Palo Alto and Miller Park, I can say this for sure. The majority of us that grew up my age group, we're all still closely connected in some way. And a lot of it was through, and still is now because of sport.
yeah.
So our kids played together, grew up together, um, school and Pop Warner, and it just kind of went on from there.
Maybe the most striking thing about it, just for me, just when I first became aware of it in the late 80s, early 90s, when I started working with kids, and I would go down there and folks would come up here and so on and so forth. Is like any other city, man, the black population is gone, right? I mean, it was I think I saw a number in here that was like when the city began, and it had this 34%. Man, no, man, it was majority black, right? And yeah, and now it's
Very diverse.
yeah, it's like I think you're like 11% now,
Yeah,
right?
you're right.
And Oakland's the same way. San Francisco, when I got here, was 15%. Now it's 3. Like I see more black folks in this room than when I sometimes walking through San Francisco.
Well, we all at the Union Hall over there.
Yeah.
but-
All right.
Um,
So what kind of work did you do coming up? What you?
I did a lot of customer service work, and their dad really was a great provider when we were
Mm-hmm.
together. So he was a barber. I really didn't have to work, but I did a little work here and there. It wasn't until after we separated, definitely, that I had to work. And then had a little bit of struggle, and I think that's where our story starts.
Yeah.
After the divorce, I was kind of taking care of him on my own for a minute. Haircuts, everything, and I just dedicated. At that time, I knew it was like, okay, I decided to have kids. I got to do what they want to do. And, considering the way things were going, I felt like that was their happy place.
Yeah.
So I wanted to keep them there and support them in what they wanted to do.
Yeah. Well, just judging what I've heard in the little time I've talked to you, congratulations.
Thank you.
Congratulations. I have to get I'm gonna give them a Mother's Day show next time, but we can do your Mother's Day right now. Really, congratulations.
Thank you.
So you got 3 boys, and I don't think we starting to work now. 3 boys, right?
Mm-hmm.
No daughters.
No, I finally got my girls with him. I got 2 granddaughters.
I see.
Actually, I'm fine that it worked out that way. After he came out, like, my dad, I cried, and I was like, forget her, whoever she would have been. I'm like, I'm not doing this again. He was like, you shouldn't have. I was like, maybe I'll get a granddaughter. And I prayed for 2, actually, and that's what I got.
Okay.
God is good.
So who's the oldest?
DeAndre Fort.
Mr. Dreadlock. Oh, I ain't got no hair, man. I can anyway. Hello, sir. Nice to meet you. You got to unmute so we can say hi to you.
Michael.
That's my
How y'all doing?
All right. He's the oldest. All right.
yeah, my music and photographers, and he's like in the arts.
Yes. Yeah.
It wasn't
We
he wasn't with the sports.
went to sports.
We tried.
Okay. All right. That's fine. Everybody got to do their thing, right? Who's number 2?
Me on the
Nashawn.
middle.
Okay. And number 3.
Where's that?
That's the only one left. Gotta be number 3. So just your journey. You got to. Were you ready, or just they just like
When I was,
I
was
gotta
I ready
do.
for
I
it?
gotta do 1, 2, 3.
Oh, good. I'll be totally honest. I don't even know if I ever told them this, but after I had DeAndre, I told a friend of mine, she's from East Palo Alto. I think she's probably the only one could say I actually said it. I said, I'm not having any more kids. This world is crazy. I want to bring any more kids into this world. Um, I was young when I had him, so it kind of just happened. But once, I saw what parenthood was. Actually, I'll tell you what, it was everything was fine because I had aunt who was a daycare provider, had a cousin daycare provider, everything was good until he got to preschool, like kindergarten. And then one day they were like, "Oh, it's just a half a day." I'm like, "Half a day?" You know what I mean? Nobody ever told me about this. Seriously. My
I know,
mom, nobody. I'm
right.
like, what? What am I gonna do? And then the lady was like, "Oh, we have after school care." So that's when it started kicking in. I was like, "Oh God." And then just life. I was young, still needing to figure out things. But I just with everything that was going on around me and everything, and just feeling like I know I couldn't protect my child everywhere. I went.
Yeah,
I was like, I didn't want to bring another kid into the world.
sure.
And I said I wouldn't unless I got married.
Hmm.
And the person that I married didn't have any kids. That was their dad. That's what happened.
All right,
7 years later.
got it. Let's start with who we gonna start. Let's start with the older brother, DeAndre. What was it like growing up in East Palo Alto?
Um, it was for me, it was fun looking back at it now because like I was able to experience life on foot, not having a car,
Yeah.
not having a cell phone, being able to travel all over the Bay Area with no phone. My mom didn't know where I was. And just being able to learn public transportation, but not even like not knowing where I was in a good way, but more so like being able to survive and move around and learn
Yeah.
my own, and just learn the world. So it was cool.
Number 2, what was it like for you?
For me, it was fun too. I mean, we only lived there for maybe a year and then we moved. But everything we did in terms of sports started in East Palo Alto. At least for me, it started in East Palo Alto. So it was fun. The same people that I hang out with now are the same people that I grew up playing sports with. Actually, Jordan Mims, we both started. Well, I started playing football on the same team as him.
Mm-hmm.
So I've been knowing him since knee high. Makai, same thing. So like Keyshawn as well. He's I think a year or two older than me, but I've been knowing him since a kid too. So it was fun playing sports, just running around. Didn't have to really worry about nothing. Because who my dad was and who my mom was. My dad was like the neighborhood barber, get you in and out in 15 minutes. And then my mom, everybody knows my mom. So
I think
I don't think I had never had a worry kind of being in East Palo Alto. So it was fun.
Wow, that's
Yeah.
great to hear. Seriously. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, just like he said, I think it was a lot of fun. I think we kind of learned on foot as well, but I think we were aware of the kind of stuff that was going on in the neighborhood in terms
Yeah.
of violence and stuff like that. But
Yeah.
we kind of didn't let it affect us at that young of an age. But we had a lot of fun.
I wasn't gonna let it. That was the main thing. No.
One time, just to look at the recent history, just off that, and it became known as the murder capital of the world.
Yes.
That was the phrase that was thrown out because
EPA
per
was known for
capita
that.
being small, there were so many deaths there. Of course, the crack cocaine era hit everybody. I mean, from Camden, New Jersey to pick a city. It destroyed families, destroyed lives. So when I hear you say that, I'm saying, how did you?
Actually, you know what? It made me stronger. I think it's why I was the way that I was with them because a lot of my friends, their parents and relatives were actually, addicts. I was fortunate enough not to have that. My mom, my dad, everybody knows my dad. They call him Earl the Pearl, ETP. He was a really good a basketball player, great basketball player. He blames me for not making it to the Lakers, but he was really my dad was in my life. And as I look back, I think that may have made the difference also with the way that I was with them. I had a family, you know, my mom, she worked, she provided, she took care of. So I saw everything, but and my mom told me about everything. She didn't want me to be green,
Right.
you know,
Right.
but I guess I could say I could have gotten caught up because I had a moment. I remember one time specifically, I had a moment that I probably could have been
Yeah. Not alive and
given
free.
no, seriously, I could have
Yeah.
been given some drugs.
Oh
and
yeah. Right.
I won't say the name, but I was dibbling, dabbling, smoking pot, young, you know, 15. And a guy rolled it up and he goes, "Here, hit it." And I did. And I got really, really lightheaded. And this is what makes me who I am now. And the same thing I told my kids. And I'm like, what the? And he actually it was cigarettes. So thank God it was cigarettes.
Ooh.
And from that day forward, I
Because it could have
always
been
said,
anything.
yeah, from that day forward, I always said, if I don't see it rolled, I will not be doing that.
Right.
And even drinks and sodas and put them down. And my kids can tell you, I tell them to this day, if you're anywhere, I don't care, at a party, my house, anywhere, you put your juice down, leave it down, don't go back to it, get something else. So some experiences and that experience, excuse me, and just seeing everything around, I even dated different.
Wow.
I dated different.
Wow. You need to get some lessons.
So I did. My mom, I don't take anything from it. I think it actually helped me to choose better as far as dating.
Yeah.
Because I saw some stuff, you know, my mom was, her and her boyfriend would get into it, have little scuffles and things. And I always said, that wouldn't be me. And I think it made me who I am now, which is, you're not messing. I'm not scared. You're not messing with me. I'll get you before you get me. You know, I've always been.
I was one before I called you.
You really?
Not the one, right?
But it was.
I
I'm not doing. But it wasn't bad.
Period.
I think this is the deal. This is my. I got it. I can talk to moms.
So a lot of that I know helped shape me who I am. I probably was more quicker to, you know, things that might result into a little fisticuffs. But they actually changed me.
How did you guys stay out the way? I always this is an EPA story. This is everybody's story. This could be any. It could be the Bronx. I'm from South Central. Okay, it's that story, right? You know, how did y'all stay out the way? I'm looking at these three men here, right? Mm-hmm. And you have to navigate. How'd y'all do it? What's your secret?
I think a lot of it had to do with guys like Eric and like just older guys that kind of led by example in terms of like just telling us the right and wrong things. So it was that. And then I think as I got older and kind of getting through high school and stuff, I realized in order to get to where I wanted to be, I needed to put myself around the same people that was doing the things I was doing. And it took for me to kind of stop hanging around certain friends. Yes. And we're still friends, but just from a distance. Yeah. So I think that was my formula. And there's 6 of us. Right now, there's 3 of us in the NFL. 1 more going to be in the NFL, and then the other 2 are just doing positive things with their lives. My brother, Dejan, he has a kid and is being a father. And then our other cousin type friend is playing basketball, and I think he's getting ready to transfer to a school in LA to play, or Phoenix, somewhere, one of those 2. But I think that was the formula, just getting around people that were moving the same way I was moving or wanted to move.
I hope people are listening, see, because everybody don't get caught up and everybody ain't got to get caught up. And I'm always, people, how you do that? Well, listen to the people who've done it, right? So that's yours.
Yeah, I mean, I think, like he said, putting myself around a similar group of guys that wanted the same things I wanted. But I think a big thing we did as a whole is learn from other people's mistakes and not repeat them. I think that's a big thing for me is watching somebody fail and telling myself that I'm not gonna do the same thing he just went and did. So I think as a whole we did that very well.
DeAndre?
Um, Pretty much the same thing, piggybacking up what they said, just the type of friends you pick to have to be around, and then also having something to do.
Uh,
You could have all the positive friends and stuff like that, but if you don't have nothing to do, really, it's easy to fall back into those things, and that's what kind of kept me away from. I mean, at least staying out the way was, even if I did revert back to old friends, like, just to check on them, I still would have something to pull me back into what I needed to do, which was that my art form, and like them playing football, like they go visit their friends and stuff that they not necessarily kicking with every day, but they know they got something to go back to that they have to protect, so.
whatever it was, it worked. So you want to say something? I saw your hand go up.
Yeah, if you don't mind, I want to ask a follow-up question. Obviously the first part is staying out the way, like y'all talking about, but that alone does not get you to the NFL. At a
Well, I was
certain
gonna
point,
go there. I was gonna go there. We're gonna get there.
okay,
We're gonna get
I'm
there.
just curious. I'm curious about the work ethic and because I don't think that, not just NFL, successful people, I don't think people understand how hard successful people work. And, and there's one right there, Dr. Marshall. He's a workaholic. He would work for free. He would work on Sunday. It's a mindset. And I'm just wondering how you develop that, because everybody don't have that,
Well, and the problem is I cursed you with it because you do the same thing.
Well, because it's fun after a while, you know what I mean? And then it's just like, that's all you want to do. But I'm just wondering, especially from the brothers in the studio, how did you decide, okay, look, I'm gonna exhaust every ounce of sweat, every ounce of energy I have, and then you know what, tomorrow I'm gonna do it again and again? Because to me, that seems like a mindset.
Yeah, I think seeing Devontae do it, Keyshawn do it, it just led us to believe like, okay, it's possible now. And then I mean my mom know like when I was probably 18, turning 19, I ended up buying a weight set and throwing it in her garage. Like, and after seeing them do it, I knew that it was possible for us to do it. We kind of drew it up and followed
That's
that.
that's a trip because I didn't play like I played sports, right?
Mhm.
But like it'd be a trip when like one of my partners, Jason Hill, he made it to the NFL,
Yeah.
and I was like, I played with him.
Yeah.
Like
Oh yeah,
Right,
that's
right.
right. Yep,
Yeah.
I was like
he was
a
right there.
too. I was right there.
For sure.
You know what I mean? It's a trip, but it empowers you. It
Mhm.
knows that okay, if he did it, and he from the same makeup or area that I'm from,
Yeah.
I can do it. I
That's
can
fact.
definitely do it.
You really got no excuse after seeing somebody do it.
Exactly.
Yeah, for
Well,
sure.
thought-
I think, and then for me, I think part of it for me was like I seen my mom work hard.
Yeah.
I seen like I mean a lot of people that I grew up around. I seen like my parents and grandparents like they worked hard. So I seen that, and then for me, I kind of when I left high school, I was kind of like juggling like, all right, I want to be able to take care of myself. So I was working a job.
You didn't want to work for nobody.
Yeah, I didn't want to work for nobody, but I was working a job. I didn't want my mom to have to give me anything, so I was working a job and trying to do that and juggle football. And then there was an incident. My dad was murdered, and our junior college coach actually came to our friend's house and basically got us out the bed and had a conversation with us and was like, "Look here, like your dad passed. It's sad and all, but what would he want you to do?"
Yeah.
And I think from that moment forward, like my whole like mindset just switched. Like,
Yeah.
and I always knew what it took to. I mean, I thought I knew what it took to get there.
Yeah.
And as I grew, like I just started to just work hard. And then you got guys like Eric, who's competitive himself as a
Yeah.
trainer, and he's pushing us to just be better on and off the field, not just on the field. But I think that's what it was, and just because now it's like night and day. Like I wake up and I eat, breathe, and sleep football, and I juggle that with my fiance now because we have 2 kids, and I'm getting up at 6, 7 in the morning. I'm not getting back home till 3, and she's kind of by herself. So, but
we've had our conversations, and she understands like this part of my life is only it's like 8 to 10 years.
Yeah.
max
Oh yeah.
if
It's
I
a
do it
short
how I'm
shelf life.
supposed to.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
we've had that conversation where it's like, look, when this is done, it's just the family, like
Yeah.
it's just us now.
Yeah.
But for the time being, like this is what I have to do. So we've had that conversation. Like you guys, Eric. I mean, I still work out with him, and it's 3 workouts a day.
Let's go to the coach, Coach Eric Washington. Thank you for joining us. You see, okay. So my magic question is, well, you the fountain. Why is the EPA the fountain of NFL players? I mean, what do you? I wanted to know what is it? And you've seen most of the guys on this list. You've seen most of this. Just all of them, right?
Literally.
Just thank you, number one, because you know there's sacred words in the English language when it comes to people. You know, father, mother, teacher, and coach. Coach can be, you know, as influential as a. So just talk about what you've seen, how you do it, why you do it. Maybe that's the best reason, and your involvement, what you've seen with all these remarkable athletes out of that small city.
Yeah, of course. Thanks for having me on, and thank you guys for your time, and really appreciative of this. But first off, you missed one. We had another cowboy go, Viliame Elko, and I'm not Tongan, but I misspelled that. Y'all didn't say Junior. So Junior Faelko, he went this year to the Cowboys. I think we forgot that one.
I wasn't gonna forget to mention them.
Wow.
Yeah, so there was another one. But I mean, honestly, the first thing is this is my passion. I love this game. I've been around this game since I was 10 years old. I'm 43 now. I've been listening to this show since I was in middle school. And just seeing it progress and seeing a need for people to just be leaders and big brothers. Yeah. And that's really more it is. A lot of people think it has to do with football, but we spend more time arguing about life and different stuff like that. These dudes come over my house. They walk through my house like they own it. It was fun. Yeah, all that. They come over, take the waters out the garage, everything. This was maybe about 2 weeks ago. Shani was at the house and the missus turned around and she was like, "What the heck is that?" You know what I mean? Because we only got 8-foot ceilings and he up there about 6'5" right now. It says 6'4", but he's taller than that if you've been around him. So, I mean, it's just, you know, being a support system for these boys and giving them just a voice. Most of these young men nowadays, they don't have a voice to talk or just to vent. Everybody want us to be strong, and with social, especially these young people with social media, they got to live in this facade world. And with me, it's no fluff. They know when they come to Coach E, I'm giving it to you raw. I don't care if you like it or not.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. As this was unfolding, how far back do you go in your coaching career? I mean, as I
started, right?
Well,
my first year coaching, I think, Shani, what was your first year? 06?
Yeah.
17 years. Yeah.
Yeah, so that was my first year. So I coached, I can't remember which one was first, but I coached Devontae's midget team the year before he went to Palo Alto. And then I coached Shani's Mighty Might team his very first year. So that team had Nashawn on there, Jordan Mims. We had some dudes on there.
There would be no way. I know. You look at the raw talent, you say they could, but it's one thing, you know, I mean, to see them progress through, that must have been just mind-blowing for you.
I mean, it's, to be honest with you, when you in the moment, it's not like that. Like, I'm a big brother. I'll spend more time yelling at them and cussing them out. I'm being honest with you. If anybody know me, they've been around me. It's all day long. We ain't looking at that kind of stuff. It's yelling at, why you not here? You not up? You doing this? You wasting time. He getting better. You might as well quit now. So, you know, and that started with Devontae. I remember one time they used to have this thing at Laney called the Nike Open. And Devontae was a freshman. And he was at my grandmother's house and he was asleep on the couch or something. And I tried to get him up. He wouldn't get up. I called him all kind of names. He was sorry. He wasn't going to make it and this, that, and the third and just everything else. And this was before everything started. This was just me being an older cousin to him. So, yeah.
and I like to say this. I think even more so now it's because, like they said, they watched Devontae, and I think, and then there was Keyshawn,
Yeah.
but I think it really hit a lot of the kids in their age group when Deshaun made it, and they were like, "Wow!" And they know they're just as talented, and they just want. Seems like a lot of kids want to mimic being able to do the same thing.
Sure.
But the main thing I would say, because the boys did go to, we ended up leaving. I took them from East Palo Alto, put them with the East Bay Warriors in Oakland, and a lot of great coaches and everything there. I really, really have to say that for me, it was the coaches, the men. They weren't just coaches, they were fathers
Yeah.
and men, and
Yeah.
they wanted to, it wasn't just about winning a game. It was about teaching these kids how to do it, teaching the kids, how to be young men. And I can honestly say I think even though there was a period in time where you know uh, they didn't have their dad with them,
Sure.
they always had these guys, and so if there was any issue, I always call Eric. Like Eric, this is what's going on, and he'll talk to me. Um, other guys. So I leaned on putting my kids in spaces where there were Black men doing positive things
That's the
that would
formula.
set an example for my kids, because I'm not a man. Can never be a man. Can't teach them that part. A lot of people say I'm strong and everything, and I am, but
you
there's still
Yeah.
that part
Oh, yeah.
where that's not something I could do. So I think the recipe for that too was making sure that I kept them with I put them in positions
Then I would
where
say you shouldn't
was
have to
men.
do it alone. That whole thing about the village raising a child is
For
true.
sure.
It is.
It really is.
It
Definitely.
is.
It is. That's
It is.
that's the community. There was a time, long time ago. Sometimes they when all the children were all our children.
Well,
right?
East Palo Alto
You
had a
know.
part of the name of the area was an area, we called it the Nairobi
Yeah.
Village.
Yeah.
To be yeah.
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 Right.
I'm
So you couldn't get away from nobody, whether it was your mom or not.
Mhm.
that's the way
Mhm.
that's the way it
Everybody
was when
knew.
I was coming up. you know, uh, I gotta say, folks from East Palo Alto rep their city so hard. What you got on jersey? You got what
Yeah.
the
And
love?
Yeah.
word
You
roll.
got hat.
That's what
You
he
know,
said.
Well, so
rep their city so hard. What is it?
I think what it is
Oh,
like it's kind of like so where we're from, like, East Palo Alto, the town, and then you got people from Oakland. I mean, Oakland is the town.
Yeah, we
but
can
for
call ourselves
us-
the town. Yeah.
for us, East Palo Alto is the town.
And it is East Palo Alto, not East Palo Alto.
Yeah, so
yeah. No. Even I never said that.
A lot of people
I know
do.
people say that. Palo Alto.
yeah, so East Palo Alto is like that's our town, like that's our home. And my brother actually is the person who created all this and been
Oh.
putting it out in East Palo Alto. So we definitely I mean if you see my jacket, it's dingy. I wear it all the time. So but I think we just take pride in where we're from.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think another thing is we just trying to shed light on our city and what we've been doing, and just keep trying to we're trying to push this movement, and probably within the next 2 or 3 years, probably gonna be 4 or 5 more kids
Wow.
in the NFL because we
Incredible.
got
Upwards of like 12 more.
yeah
in college.
we got a bunch in college right now. So we just trying to push a positive movement
that
through that
is
city.
Unbelievable.
I do want to say, when it, because I kind of learned as I was going, but one of the things that I was saying about Black men, that was kind of the basis of why I told my kids to go to Oregon State. I had a coach, Blue Adam, family man, wife, children, all of that. And I just felt like, even though they played football, they had somebody that could understand them and teach them how to be a man outside of football.
Right.
Because unfortunately, I could say some kids they're so good at what they do. Everybody just want them to play so they can help their team win. But then there's the part of it that they're not getting teaching. So when they're not getting taught the right and the wrong things. And then when they get to the NFL, you see all this stuff.
Oh yeah.
And then they're gone. Their career is over.
Yeah.
So you make it, but then things like people like Eric, coaches and everything, that makes a difference. So I would say for me, to any parent that this is, your kids are in any kind of sport, when you're picking a college, to look at that, like the coaches, if they're just someone that just wants to teach your kid to win, or just to win in life too.
Got you.
Yeah.
Number 2, Alive and Free Street Soldiers Radio, celebrating the 40th anniversary of East Palo Alto. Had a wonderful first hour. Our guests, Sadio Simon, Nashawn Wright, Rajon Wright, DeAndre Forks, and Eric Washington. We heard the story of a mother and her 3 sons, 2 of whom are in the NFL. We talked to Coach Washington about the remarkable number of players in the NFL from East Palo Alto. We're going to expand that discussion now to the community part of EPA and continue the discussion. I can't let them athletes go because the whole thing is just blown my mind. I bottle it and sell it to the rest of the cities in the United States.
That's right.
As far as I'm concerned. DeAndre, I've been hearing about your talent. Talk about Joel. Talk about him. Can't nobody talk about you better than your mama. Go ahead, blow him up.
DeAndre has been DeAndre since he was 3. I had a black Honda Excel, and the music wasn't that loud, but he wanted to hear it to the max. He was like, "Mom, go." And we actually have a picture of him. We knew DeAndre was gonna be who he is today. My brother, remember when you used to take the cassette players and put the tissue in them to tape record?
Right.
He was doing that like at 3 and 4. He would climb up on my brother.
3.
Mm-hmm.
3.
We have a picture of him climbing up, opening up the cassette player, pulling the cassette deck and pulling it out. And you would just always see him with the cassette player pulling out the stuff. And winding it back with his little
3?
finger. 3 and 4. He always loved music.
Look, he just nodded here. Yeah, well, yeah, what's the problem?
Yep.
Yeah.
You put together this piece on East Palo Alto, and we're going to show it right now. It's very well done, obviously, and explains a lot of the history part of EPA. So let's do this. We want to show this before we get into conversation with everybody else. You ready, Ann? All right.
Came through the incorporation movement, there was just one glaring thing to all of us who were community minded, was that there was no youth participation in incorporation. So we became a city in '83, and within a year, I formed the Leadership Training Academy. And the primary purpose of the Leadership Training Academy, which was a youth program for middle and high schoolers, which was year round, but had a primary program in the summer at Stanford University, where young people were taught how to organize and run a city.
I feel if we step into it and start sprinkling the game back into it, maybe I'm picking up like, you know what? You right, man. What OG said was right. I'm gonna start on my next one. I'm gonna talk about voting. I'm gonna talk about prison reform.
A lot of people weren't homeowners, they were renters. And what happened is that once the stores began to come in and the property values began to go up, the landlords put pressure to increase the rent. So in some cases, they were forced out.
Pete McCloskey, who was a really prominent congressman. You know Bernie Sanders in the Congress? Well, Pete McCloskey was kind of like that. The group that opposed incorporating the city hired him as their lawyer.
It takes a community. East Palo Alto is a strong knit community. You see it like, man, we've been through a whole lot, man. And I love to see all our peoples coming together.
He was able to go to the FBI and get them to begin to investigate the fraud that was going on here in East Palo Alto with regards to this election. Now, how do I personally know? Once we had won the election, then someone in the school district, a high-level school district staff person, a senior administrator, called me up and said, Omar Wallet, do you know I just got a visit from the FBI?
People felt like they had had enough of East Palo Alto. You know, we're out of here. You know, nothing's ever going to get in, and nothing's ever going to change. And so they moved. They didn't have any faith that the city was going to move forward in a way that would include them. So they chose to leave the area, and now most of them are regretting it.
Pete McCloskey, at the first trial, wanted to introduce FBI evidence, which were, what do? They tape you, you know, the taping. Now, remember, we back in the 80s, it's not today, but we were all bugged. The phones were bugged. There was all kind of surveillance on us in different ways. And McCloskey wanted to introduce evidence to prove that there was voter fraud, and the trial judge would not let that evidence be introduced. I don't know why. Then they appealed to the appellate court in the state of California. They lost there. Then they appealed to the Supreme Court of the United States. And they're only able to do this because of Pete McCloskey. You follow what I'm saying? But the Supreme Court refused to hear the case. And when the Supreme Court would not hear the case, that meant that the ruling at the appellate and at the Superior Court was the standing for law, and therefore we became a city.
I love the signature right there. DeAndre, great piece, man. Great piece, great piece. What prompted you to put that together?
Honestly, I didn't have nothing ready for the 40th anniversary. And a friend of mine was just pushing me to put something out for it. And I was just gonna let it go, honestly, and just kind of acknowledge the day. But me having all this footage that I've been having since, like, I've been documenting and collecting since like 2020, it's just been adding up, and I really didn't know what to do with it. I want to make a documentary piece, but I didn't want to let too much out. But then at the same time, it's like, you know, you can't keep it forever, and you never know what happens. So I just figured I'm gonna just start putting this stuff out little by little, and to support the brand that you see my brother's wearing and stuff. Like, I plan on dropping some more stuff, and I'm not able to move right now. Like, my car is down, so I couldn't just go shoot a commercial, which is what I wanted to do for my brand. So I was like, well, I'm gonna just put together a piece. And I got the idea from my friend that's been helping me to put together a piece with what I have. You know what I mean? It brought me back to where I started in the beginning, just using what I have instead of just forcing it. You know what I mean? Letting God just guide it for what from what I have. So I used the anniversary, and it tied in at the end, as you can see, the embroidery of the hoodies that you see, because I wanted to tie it in, but I don't have any current footage, and I'm waiting on samples from the new stuff that I'm putting out. So I used a little bit of that and put it together.
Great piece, man. It's great because what it does is you wove the history into current, right? And it makes you want to really know more about the history. And you know, I knew a little, I read more, and it was confirmed. And for those of us who've been around a while and know how, can I just say, diabolical folks can be, you know, when I hear the, you know, FBI and, look, I know what COINTELPRO is, so I know a lot of people don't know that. It's good to know all the history that goes into not even wanting you to have your own city, right? And I've read stuff today, and so I think it's wonderful, because when folks can do that, then we can all. I always say, and how many people have heard me say this? I don't believe in the generation gap. I believe in the truth gap. 2 + 2 is 4, whether you 19 or 95, right? So I always want to get to the truth. We got the same shared truth. We're all rolling together, and so I think it's wonderful what you put together. Thank you very much. We're joined by some very good friends of mine and the Street Soldiers, and about Larry Moody, former mayor. Can I just say that? of EPA. By the way, I found a list of all the mayors and I saw your name and I said, I thought you was lying, but I saw your picture, so I knew you weren't. I knew you wasn't.
Come on, Frat.
I know
No, I don't got no lie in me.
No, I bet. Stop, man. I'm doing my bit for the show. Okay. All right. Douglas. Man, this brother, I don't know. I can't say enough about you. Douglas Ford. Just come on in, get off the mic and say something. Okay, just say something. Say hi. And of course, the one and only.
Hello.
The one and only. Can I say Mrs. Dell? One and only Miss Demetra Jones beaming in. Let me tell you how much she loves East Palo Alto. Guess where she is right now? Tell them where you are right now. I'll be letting everybody know where you are.
She in China.
Hi, everybody.
Tell everybody where you are.
I'm in Tanzania.
Tanzania, Africa. What time is it there?
It's 7:10 in the morning.
That's how much she love y'all. That's how much she love y'all. That's how much she love y'all.
That's my old teacher.
She on a whole nother continent. She in the motherland. Okay. So, all right, where we going to begin here? We've been celebrating. Let's start with your comments. Just each of your comments about East Palo Alto. I was talking at the end of the last hour where I asked how hard people rep and love East Palo Alto.
Right.
Larry Moody, Doug Fort, Demetra Jones. Comment on that, please.
Well, I'll go first. So I arrived in East Palo Alto in 1992. All right. Many folks know I was involved in urban ministry work. And you're absolutely right. I fell into a community that was committed to a standard, right? That anyone that was on the outside knew without a shadow of a doubt, right, that they were interacting with the community of East Palo Alto. Now, this is right before we were registered as the murder capital, 1993. And we were traumatized by crack cocaine and illegal gun sales, just like many other communities throughout the U.S. We were just impacted. We were highlighted because we were such a small community. But one of the things that occurred, and the mother and our professional athletes alluded to, and Eric will attest to, our community played ball, right? We played football, baseball, basketball. People found a way to get their kids involved in some positive activities, knowing that they might drift into some negative behavior. So in that, there was a community, right, that emerged, right, to today's East Palo Alto, which is now more of a healthy community than back in those early days. So
thanks, Stevie.
Wow.
Mr. Demetra. And I've been knowing you've been talking about since I met you.
Yes, I'm born and raised in East Palo Alto. So I got to see a glimpse of EPA prior to the 90s and the late 80s. And you swear it just like you closed your door one night and opened it and it was night and day. But I say that to say, because I grew up and EPA was, what would we say, 99% Black? I think we had one white family, the Taylors, and they still there. But we had, I grew up in a predominantly Black community, and like businesses were owned by Black folks. There were definitely folks there who were non-Black that owned as well. But I can clearly recall, I'll go into our local corner store, and if I even attempted to act a fool, I'm going to tell your uncle, and it would straighten me up real quick. Or are you putting this on your uncle's tab? Yep, everything was on my uncle's tab. So it was that type of community, and walking from my house to that store to a park, it didn't matter who corrected me. If I got out of line, it didn't matter who it was. You better fall back, because somehow, some way, my mom was going to get word of it. And so that's what I grew up in, and that's what I know. And so that formed a very, very tight bond to that place. And the street, Verbena, the Gardens, I'm going to rep the Gardens always. That's where I grew up. And we lived on Verbena. My grandparents lived on Verbena. My aunt and uncle lived right around the corner on Abelia. My next door neighbor across the street, all of them were like great uncles. So my mom great aunts and great uncles. So my mom could literally leave me at home and go to work and know that I was fine, because that's the block I grew up on, and everybody just watched everybody, and somehow, some way, that woman knew everything I was into when she was on her job. Like, that's just what we grew up in. And so when the late 80s and 90s hit, it rocked us hard. But at the same time, we fought through it and we survived it because of the foundation that we had. And a lot of us knew better. But again, it rocked us hard that way. But that place is always gonna remain a very special place. And I kid you not, just about anywhere I go in the world, I'm always finding somebody that either knows EPA or is connected to it some way. And that even happened here in Tanzania. As I'm sitting at a local bar, and I'm just like, yeah, I grew up in, shut up. I went to Stanford, I was in Palo Alto, and I spent time over there. Then I'm like, okay, whatever, shut up. But it's like, it's always that happens to me when it comes to that city. It's just someone somewhere is either connected to it some way or they know of it, no matter just about everywhere I've traveled to in this world. So it's a very small but mighty city.
Yeah.
We will have differences within that city because we have had our differences within that city. But you put us all out of that city and we all together, you can forget it because we're not backing down. We don't back down. And we definitely received a name from that. And I have deep roots, deep friendships. We've all gone and done amazing things in life. And even on this call, Sadio, her dad, and my dad were really good friends growing up. DeAndre was my student, and Doug and I grew up together. It's so many like ties on this call alone that I have with the city of EPA. So it's near and dear to my heart. It's East Palo Alto, and I'm in the east part of Africa. We used to call it that back in the day.
Hey, EPA! Oh Lord, now that is too serious. That is crazy. Oh my God, you still in EPA?
Yep.
Thank you, Miss Demetra. All right, Doug, your turn.
Omo talks about this thing. That's the one, the founder of our city, talks about this thing called self-determination.
Yeah.
And I think that's woven in all of us.
Yeah.
From everybody on this call, you can hear Nashawn speak it in an articulate way about standing on this square and knowing this what he needed to do. And when you had that rogue in you, when you had that self-determination about nobody's gonna control us, nobody's gonna lead us, we're gonna be our own leaders, it resonates. It's a vibration that you have. Like, we got the real vibration here. So for me, growing up in EPA, it's just seeing Black empowerment, seeing Brown and our Polynesian brothers and sisters just be on one accord about standing on our own G and standing on our own accord. So for me, EPA is the DNA, and you can see it in the boys as they play on the field, how the distinguished they are between individuals. So for me, being born and raised there, and like Demetra said, I'm from the village though, don't get it twisted, you know what I mean? So we say that amongst each other, having fun and games. And so I'm very proud of these boys. I'm proud of the work that's going on at EPA, from all the organizations that's going on, and with the intent to curb the violence and get our boys to be healthy and our girls to be healthy. So EPA to me is, I rep it wherever I go. Everything I am today is inwoven in that. My children are named after EPA, so it's my daughter's named after EPA. So it's.
Well, tell me their names. You can't just drop that now.
Well, my youngest daughter name is Nairobi, and we come from in the corporation movement. We was gonna name our city Little Nairobi.
Yep, that's right.
And so I named my daughter that in representing of that community and where it came from, just the Black empowerment side of it, the stand up on that. So I think that there's some beautiful things. Like, for example, just a little quick fun fact real quick, that East Palo Alto produced the first Black female mayor in American history, Honorable Barbara Mouton.
Yes.
This is how standout we are.
Yep. Yep.
You know what I mean? These are things that are unique to, now you're going to see, after we start talking about our history, you're going to see why East Palo Alto, we moved the way we move, because we stand on, we have this self-reliance and this self-determination spirit about us. And once you understand it, and you can hear Omo, the way he talks, he's 80 years old with that commanding voice and that standing, and how we stood against FBI exchange and all this other stuff. So you can see, you just don't see the street side of it, but you see this family, this organization, this thing being more than whatever people say. That's the reason why I wrote that post, Doc, was to make sure that we're pushing away from that negative image. And I want you to see Nashawn. I want you to see Ray Ray. I want you to see all other positive things that's going on. Devontae, instead of just saying somebody got shot and killed. We're done with that. We want to be back to our essence, and that is empowerment. So EPA.
And to me, East Palo Alto is symbolic of what a Black America tries to achieve.
Yes.
Can I just say this, frankly, the intentionality of trying not to have that happen. I mean, the whole Nairobi movement, the whole incorporation. I think the one thing that strikes people who don't even know it is how the whole, when you say East Palo Alto and Palo Alto, the juxtaposition between the two cities.
Yes.
How much benefit Palo Alto has from Silicon Valley, and how much neglect. It was like, I mean, that's crazy. If there's a city that should have benefited right now and should have right from the beginning with that whole Silicon Valley, you're right in the cradle of Silicon Valley. You go to Palo Alto, it's almost like, in the old days, we called it the train tracks. Y'all remember the train tracks?
Mm-hmm.
One side of the train track was that side of town, other side of town. And I was reading about blockbusting and the intentional and white flight and all the stuff they did intentionally, to the Black part of town. So here it is, 2023, and you still have not fully. And then people ask, why are you asking for reparations? Well, hell, we didn't get the 40 acres and a mule.
Come on, speak your talk.
We never got none of that, right? If there's a place that should be flooded in a good way with all the gains that Silicon Valley has, it should be East Palo Alto. And so what people don't understand is the intention. There was never an intention to have, you be the NFL capital of the world, right? You did that in spite of all that.
Come on with it.
Saying that, in spite of that. And the casual person doesn't know that. But that's what Black led done throughout our history in this country, in spite of.
Yes.
And I always, young people say, Doc, it was set up for us to fail. Absolutely, it was set up for you to fail.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact you haven't failed is because of your resilience. My son likes to say they didn't give you nothing. No, we earned everything.
Yes, sir.
EPA is a perfect symbol of that. That is so glaring. And every time I drive down there, this is Palo Alto or this is East Palo, so fight for everything you can get, and you should. Am I making sense with that?
Oh yeah, it makes plenty of sense. Of course. I think the model of East Palo Alto telling you, from the teaching of Omo, is that once you control your tax dollar, once you understand your tax dollar and control it, and then you can take control of the amenities around your schools, your roads, inviting the Whole Foods into your city. We need to take control of your tax dollar. And the way you do that is getting part of the community, city council. You don't have to be city council, but you could be a part of the commissions. We need to be more involved in understanding where our tax dollars go. And that's what the whole city was started for, is because somebody else was controlling our tax dollar. Mm-hmm. So he had to go ask somebody else to determine where our money was going. He said, nah, we ain't gonna do that. We're gonna create our own and control our own. We're gonna have our own back to self-determination. So this is a great model. I've shared this with Sadil and DeAndre, that if we took this model and just shared it with our Black communities around the country, and outside of what crack did to us, I'm thinking that it will be, it's unbelievable, the information has been exchanged. So it's a model that definitely need to be highlighted.
And doesn't even say that, the people don't understand. There have been models recreated, whether it be in Tulsa,
That's correct.
Wall Street, that stuff gets destroyed. You
Sure.
understand? People be like, well, that was a long time ago. No, you know, and people, you know, and the good thing is that we what's the Donnie McClurkin song, Lady? You like We Fall Down?
Oh yeah, we
We
fall
get
down.
up.
We all get up. Yeah.
No, you may have just squelched affirmative action, but we gonna find another way. You know, we
Yes, sir.
never going out, right?
Hey Doc, let me add something.
Continue. So
Hey
yeah,
Doc, let me add a little context. So right around 1981, all right, so the state of California and San Mateo County and Santa Clara County knew that we were very close to incorporation, right? 1982, we lost by a meager number. I think it was like 16 votes, right, for approval of incorporation. But they knew we were coming back and that we were going to be favorable the next time around.
That's correct.
San Mateo County and Santa Clara County began a gerrymandering of the East Bayshore area, which was East Palo Alto. And they carved out land, right? And land that would have, on a map, it looked like Palo Alto, the southeastern part of Palo Alto, all the way down to Oregon Expressway, was East Palo Alto before this gerrymandering took place.
For the hood, and he means the Baylands.
Yeah,
For
the
hood.
Baylands.
Yeah.
Right.
But anyway, go ahead. Yeah.
And then the Menlo Park took what is called the Bellhaven until went farther east up on the Bayfront area and took what was East Palo Alto land and they gerrymandered it into Menlo Park. So what happened was we lost the ability to do anything but be a small residential community. We had no land for development. We couldn't do manufacturing. We couldn't do too much of anything because we only had 2.5 miles of land and we actually had no infrastructure. We had a special sanitary district. We had 2 water districts providing water for the community. So within this 40-year period, we actually had to kind of find a way to organize and manage this 2.5-mile area called East Palo Alto. Now, Santa Clara County never apologized, nor did they try to find ways to give us back that land, nor did San Mateo County as well. But what they did do, they came into those gerrymandered area and they built their own industries there. They put their water treatment plants over there. They put a golf course. They put an airport. Matter of fact, where Meta is, formerly Facebook, that land got gerrymandered off where we had a DeMonet project that was going to be built in East Palo Alto, right? That moved from Whiskey Gulch to this area in Menlo Park. So our ability to develop any tax revenue was just, we were just strangled, right? We were strangled. But
yeah, that's why it's
I want to lift one name up before I stop. Pete Evans, right?
Yes, sir.
A tremendous East Palo Alto leader.
Yes, sir.
And on par with Omo and Bob Hoover, when you begin thinking about the East Palo Alto community during the early 1980s. He went to the state right around 1991, 92, because San Mateo County was going to take what was our Ravenswood High School area, and they were going to use it for their own maintenance yard. Now they had they forced us to close our Ravenswood High School, which anybody knows, high school is typically the hub and the heartbeat of a community, and they began busing out all of our East Palo Alto students, right, to 5 different feeder schools. But one of the things that occurred was their intent to develop in our own community for the county's purposes. Pete Evans filed a lawsuit and demanded that East Palo Alto have first rights towards development. And that was a turnkey because it allowed us to get state funding. 1, we won the case, right? And then 2, we were able to develop what is now our retail hub and then be able to bring in some redevelopment dollars where we were able to put in the Four Seasons Hotel and other structures that was going to bring us some tax revenue.
Yeah,
right?
so, it.
Yeah.
I love this because it's important to know the history, your history,
Yeah.
and everybody's got a part to play, right? I know my part. My part is to work with young people and get them not to, be part of be part of the solution, not part of the problem. Get them to move further. Some folks are good at being a politician. I ain't good at that, right? But everybody is for the betterment of the people, and
Right.
so and everybody can't do all things well, but if we're all on the same page, right? Producing great young people that we have here, supporting mom, producing the chance that somebody like Mr. Demetra can go where she wants to go, but we're all on the same page. We want a healthy people, healthy, vibrant community, and then celebrate the wonderful fortune when we get it. So that's what tonight is all about. Tonight is about celebrating. I love the whole thing about the self-determination. You pushing it through despite all the obstacles that have come forth for this small 2.5, and I will say so many intentional obstacles that you've been put up against. So it is a celebration, and you should be smiling.
Well,
You
I
smiling.
wanna,
Go ahead.
if I can, I want to say thank you. I think I've never really said thank you because, and my cousin called in. They did start with the Greyhound, but what people don't know, because they probably weren't told, that did start with Douglas Ford and Eric Stewart together. Unfortunately, some things happened and we moved along, but that's where all the kids, started from. But again, at the end of the day, no matter where you are, what city you are, everything that I said was, I think still important to, even if you do move away, you move to a place and you get with people, same type of people like Eric Washington, Douglas Ford, because Eric is the sports, Doug is the academic. And to me, and I promote that more now because we didn't have that when we was coming out. Nobody told us the GPAs and everything that we needed to get the college, the courses and all that stuff to to go to college and all. We didn't have that. My mom and dad didn't talk to me about that. It was just graduate high school and things like that. So I cheered when I was younger with a lot of guys that kids are now playing football. We have Jabbar Franklin. His son Troy Franklin is Oregon Ducks. He's really good.
Yep.
Um,
That's right. Really
but
good.
I
Yeah.
think now, from what we had then to what we have now is we have Eric and we have Doug. Two different, things. There's sports and then there's education. And I really like to talk about the education side more of it now because everybody's not gonna make it.
How come,
the NFL.
can I ask a question for EPA people? How come people from EPA be hella buff? Y'all be hella buff. They be hella buff. They be like 5'10" and hella buff.
That's because it's old school farmland.
Oh,
EPA farmland.
Just be small.
Am I
tripping? Am I tripping?
No, come on, man.
Hey, but I do want to touch on one point Sadil made, and I'm not just about sports. This year I actually went back to school. I had already been in an adult program, and I finished up May 7th and got my bachelor's degree in business administration. So it's not about sports with me. Sports is just a caveat to get the kids' attention and grab them in. I've got kids who's got master's degree. I teach about the NCAA clearinghouse and those rules and things like that. Sports is just a carrot. And that's just 100% honest with you. It's just an avenue. It's something that I was good at, something that I was blessed at, and that we did as a city very well, and we took a lot of pride in. So if I can grab their attention by using the sports, then that's what I'm gonna use. But it's always been about education, and education has been the grounding foundation of everything that elite athletes' journey is about in the company I started. So I just wanted to put that little 2 bits in there.
Well, you can't argue with the results, right?
Yeah.
I mean, look at this. Look at Douglas. Look at Miss Demetra. Look at you, Coach Walsh. Look at DeAndre. Look at Mom. Look at her 2 sons. Look at this list that we have. You can't argue with the results. And it's real. And Larry Moody. It all comes down to children come into the world. You got to run them through this gauntlet called, and get them to the other side where they become productive adults. And there is a formula, and you heard that formula. You've already said your secret. But when you can get a whole community focused on that, run interference. Let's do football. When you're at the political level, you run an interference for that to happen. That's all you really want to happen. When you sue somebody, you want it to be good for your kids, right? That's all this is about. Period, right? When you go wherever you gotta go, you call it ain't no different than you being on the street yelling at somebody, do that. It's all for the young people. And that's why this is a celebration. This is beautiful. This is absolutely beautiful. Because you coached hard to get this. You raised hard to get this, right? You married hard to get this, and the more you know, the more you owe. You reach down and you'll pull somebody else through, right? Because we know what the other side looks like. I mean, I've been to enough funerals. I'm tired of that. Nobody likes that. And so to come out, we survived that period, and we know, and believe me, that was a lot of folks say that was intentional too. I ain't gonna go back there and talk about
it was
California. Okay, you can talk about the Maxine Waters about that. I'm gonna leave that alone. Okay. So, but to have all this thrown against us and to come out on the other side shows the greatness and the resiliency of the people, right? And so that's why this is so celebratory to me. This is wonderful. And right here, y'all the symbol of the celebration.
Most definitely.
And we did. So you only don't be one thing. I want tickets to the game. That's all I want.
And I think too, I don't know if this was mentioned,
but that's a celebration. It's all smiles and joy, and you must feel just beautiful. You got 3 of your boys here. You must feel. You gonna cry? You can cry.
No.
Go ahead, Dio. It's okay.
I'm emotional, but I can be emotional. But for me, a lot of people ask, well, how does it feel, Myron? And it's probably just the type of person I am. My main thing, really how I feel, is I'm happy that my boys set a goal.
Yeah.
And they did everything they needed to do to get there. Yeah. And I am really, really grateful for all the people along the way, good and bad, because even the bad thing taught me to pull away from it.
Right.
Move on.
Right.
Let it be what it is.
Yeah.
Move on.
Keep moving.
Get into the right place, other places where all of that isn't. Right. And just keep it pushing. So I'm grateful for the good and the bad, honestly. Because it made me who I am, it made me stronger, and it made me gave me everything I needed to pass it on to my boys.
We got a couple calls? Really? No? Yes?
No.
We don't? Okay. So
and I also want to say real quick.
Demetra has something to say.
What? Okay, Ms. D.
As we were talking about sports or what have you, I think of sports and EPA too as bringing us young folks back to a center. And I just remember when we were young, when we had the summer basketball league. What was it? Was it for us, by us? What did we call it? For us, by us?
No, it ain't. No, get that right, homie. Don't get it.
What was it, Doug?
It's for youth, by youth. Don't
get it.
Bye.
And Doug was just like, we gonna do basketball this summer, and we gonna get y'all ladies in the middle of the street in Fordham. It was one of these streets in EPA, and y'all go sign everybody up. And I mean, we in the middle of the street screaming, basketball, and that summer,
that's right,
a wonderful summer. I mean, every set just came together, and from For Youth by Youth became, midnight basketball, where, I mean, it was the one place your parents would be like, all right, go ahead and go, right? If it's the girls looking for the cute guys or the guys trying to play their hard for the girls. But it was always this space of sports that brought us young people back to what we knew to be true about EPA. And we can go from 5x to the Roadrunners to Eric Stewart's organization. And even today, Dr. Marshall, they have a softball team, adult softball team. where there's Splash Day. It's an annual Splash Day that happens every year with youngsters putting that together. Eric Wilson. I mean, sports in that community plays a very vital role for our young people. But what I recognize with it, it brings us back to who we know we are. And it's always done that. So it's no surprise that these young men are going off doing amazing things in sports.
We got a national championship rugby team too.
Let's wrap this up the way we started. Where are you headed? What can we look for in your immediate future? Let's start with the Suns. Go right ahead. You first.
I'm headed to Spartanburg, South Carolina for training camp, July 22nd. You should just look for me to play football.
Tell everybody the team, because I heard about it.
Play for the Carolina Panthers.
So you're gonna be there with Bryce Young.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Yeah.
He any good?
Yeah, no. Yeah, he's real good.
All right.
So I report for camp in Oxnard for the Dallas Cowboys July 24th.
Oh, they let him in?
Yeah,
He's a Dallas
I
Cowboy.
think what you can expect.
Nah, he got to get off the mic, Dr. Marshall. There, you trying to sabotage? Come on, man. I don't know.
Look, man. Look, stop.
Nah, I'm joking. I'm sorry.
You could expect us to make a run in the playoffs. I think we're gonna push for the bowl. My past 2 years in the league, we've inched at it. I think this year we might put it. I think we're gonna put it together.
I'm scared of Dallas.
What's your position? Your position.
Defensive back.
Okay, and yours.
Same.
Both
Defensive
DBs.
back.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's go to DeAndre. What's in store for you?
Using my my art, my platform to change the narrative of East Palo Alto, tying into what Larry Moody said, Ms. Jones, Doug, E, giving a different narrative for the city other than the murder capital and all the negativity. Using my brand, Made in EPA, to give something different than what we ever had. Like if you Google East Palo Alto right now, everything is negative. Is East Palo Alto a safe place?
Yeah.
This is 2023 you're talking about. We haven't been the murder capital since 1991. And that's still what you see when you look up the city. So I'm going to use visual representation to change that. They're already pushing that forward with the sports. When you look them up and it shows where they're from and you ask people about East Palo Alto, they talk about the Devontaes. They're going to be talking about my brothers and everybody to come after them. So I want to just keep pushing that forward and spreading the message that we're pushing positively.
Let me give a shout out real quick to Heather Starnes and Christina. What was the last name?
Thompson.
Thompson, Kokanee and Sundance.
Kokanee and Sundance.
Gotta give them. They're a big part of this. And this is
Bakari's on the line too, Dr. Marshall.
Yeah, Bakari's calling in.
Bakari's trying to call. Well, he better call in quick because we about to. He can send me a text. I'll read it. Bakari, is that you? He ain't dialing the number. Okay. Is that him? Bakari, you want to say something? Oh, we can't. It ain't working. It ain't working. All right, we're gonna turn it over to you, the one and only, Lady Estelle.
Okay. Thank you so much, Mom, for bringing. I know they probably did all the driving, but they bringing. Oh, you drove? Okay.
I drove too.
Okay, for allowing us to share your sons with. I can just see you at the. What did they do? What do they call that when they call you out for the team that you're going to be on?
Oh, at the draft.
We did the draft.
You did
at home.
Oh, you did it at home.
That's tight.
Okay. Oh my goodness sakes. I can just imagine. So thank you so much for sharing your sons with us, and blessings to you. Cause see, I would be to watch my boys, I'd be upset to stay away from my son. Oh my, you know, that's definitely motivating. All right. East Palo Alto, 40 years strong. We celebrate you and lift you up. Despite the challenges presented to you 40 years later, you've made it through. a community of families, a village put together, transcended the drama and became incorporated, while producing young people who are talented and gifted as well. In fact, you can see them from Africa all over the NFL. How did that happen? Here's what they did. They followed the wisdom of Mom and Coach Eric, DeAndre, Nashawn, and Rajon. And Mom made sure they have the guidance they needed to make it through. So congratulations, EPA, for this 40 years. We celebrate you, and please stay alive and free. This is Lady Estelle asking you to consider this.
Thank you, all of you, so much. Thank you so much.
EPA, stand up. Yes, sir.
Thank you for having me.
I know we got your back now. You got any problems? You know, if one of them coaches mess with you, you can call Doc. You know, I'll blast them over the air. You know, I ain't got no problem talking about it. You know, I will. You know, they better treat you right. You know, because you gonna be right, they gotta treat you right. All right. That's how you know you. Well, we got a saying. What's that saying? We're not all related, but we all family. So we all family here. Got that? All right.
Appreciate it.
Love all y'all. You know I love all of y'all. So thank you so much. DeAndre, you keep changing that narrative, man, because it's not the narrative of today. We gotta get the narrative that was out tonight. Out. Coach Walsh, thank you very much. I'll see you down the road. All right. Okay.
Yes, sir.
We gotta get